Hey there, Zesty Boys, and welcome back to the Zesty Podcast. My name, of course, is Tony, and today I'm joined by Mr. Joey Becknell. How you doing, Joey?
You know, I'm well. It's a good day.
It's a good day. It's a little chilly outside.
Absolutely. Woke up with a little nip in the
A
air.
little nip. See, I didn't think it would be that cold until, I was letting my dog out this morning with just, underwear on. I opened it and just, nipples like diamonds.
And all the neighbors
yeah.
started plotting.
I always wait until the, middle school bus comes around just to, let the dog out.
Bingo.
Just flex a little bit. It's like...
You like that, Little Mill?
Go Mustangs.
Yeah, Little Mill Mustangs, if anyone wants to locate
Hey,
us.
man, Little Mill girls are hot, North girls are not.
Little Pill is what we called
stop.
it.
There was Little Pill. I don't even remember the other one.
There's Potwell.
Potwell. I was trying to remember what that one was called. Did North have anything?
Everyone tried to make
Horth. Yeah.
Forsyth work.
Horth Forsyth.
I was talking to my little sister, though, who's still deep in that culture.
Mm-hmm. Is she in middle school?
She's in 9th grade.
Okay.
So she's only recently removed, but definitely still a part of it. And she
fucking hates the kids from Little Mill at school.
It's ridiculous.
Really?
Yes. They're like, oh, they're all a bunch of druggies. And I just said,
how are they druggies?
Well, I was like, they are only druggies because their name can rhyme with Little Pill.
I think there was maybe one kid when I was in Little Mill who may have saw weed once in middle school and fuck, they're a bunch of druggies.
Exactly. And then meanwhile she's like, yeah, and all the girls at North are sluts, and then all the girls at Lakeside are sluts.
Fucking it's just sluts and druggies. North Forsyth High School's going to shit.
Exactly. And I told her, man, freaking, I guess 8 or 9 years ago when I was there.
Yeah.
Shit, that's kind of
well.
Yeah, 8 or 9 years ago it was the same thing when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
But she believes it. She believes it to be religion.
Fucking
that
sluts.
Little Mill and Otwell are druggies.
It's like the underground tunnels of Las Vegas and North Forsyth High School these days.
Bingo.
Just people hitting Thor's silver hammer, chasing the dragon on their way to first period.
That's what I'm talking about. Studying the dumb green Yoda. You know what I'm saying?
That sticky, icky.
Danky panky, baby.
I can't think of any more creative weed names.
I don't know. If I sat long enough, I could start making some up.
Yeah. The Chronic. That's a
The
good
Chronic.
one. That's a good one.
The Immobilizer.
Yeah. I would believe that was a real one.
Oh, yeah.
I have never been in a situation where I've been smoking weed and said, man, this Chronic's good. I feel like if I did, I would not be invited back.
No. Well, Chronic, it just sounds so intense to me. It's not weed.
That Chronic.
It sounds like some sort of ancient Greek titan or something called Chronic.
Chronic has risen. That's what Snoop Dogg smokes, the Chronic.
Oh, yeah.
And Dr. Dre, I bet he smokes Chronic.
Probably. And I don't know.
Ice Cube, back when he was a rapper.
Lil Breezy Dreezy McSqueezy.
Dude, you hear his new track on SoundCloud?
Yeah, what was it called?
It was called Scissorp.
Scissor.
And it's just him going, yeah, like that scissor the whole time. And there's
Yeah.
just a fat, wet bass beat going.
And it is art.
It is
what
art.
it
He
is.
got that weird tattoo of just a butt right on his.
Bingo.
It's one cheek on each side of his nose. He's like, my nose is the asshole. He always says that in interviews, and
It says
even
a
when
lot
not
about
prompted.
society.
I mean, he's just a creative. It's so beautiful that kids have such an outlet to express themselves, especially kids from lower income, where historically they haven't really had great outlets to express themselves creatively.
Mm-hmm.
SoundCloud has really brought that to our generation. I'd say.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
I'm trying to keep it where you can't tell. I like to ride that gray area,
Ride that green dragon,
that
baby.
green dragon. I like your haircut.
Oh, thank you.
When did you get it?
About a week ago.
Okay, so it's I always hate when I get a haircut at first, but then you give it a little time to grow, and it's okay, and then we're where we want to be.
Right, and my barber told me because I go at times months without getting a haircut.
Oh, me for sure.
And the same lady cuts my hair, and I like her a lot. Her name's Amanda, and she gives it to me straight every time.
Joey, you're goddamn ugly. I'll try.
Just last time I was in there, I told her, I'm thinking about growing a mustache. What do you think? And she immediately told me, absolutely not. You do not have the face for it.
Absolutely
You're going to
not.
look like a pedophile. No.
I will not give you one.
She literally said, I will not allow that. Like,
Do you go to the American Barber?
Yeah.
I think I started going there per your recommendation, and that's where I've gone for the past like year and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't they cut you one time?
Yeah, they did. This lady was like, because they do like instead of doing like trimmers like to shave your neck, they do like a straight razor.
Yeah.
And she was just going. I felt like a little nick. I was like, oh. And then like she like swiftly, looking back on it, like put something on it or just kind of like wiped it off with like a towel. But then when I got in the car, I was looking at the back of my hair and there was just like this huge red gash from where she cut me with a straight razor and didn't even tell me that she did. And now last time I did, I went. They did the straight razor, and she like straight razored around my ears too, which was kind of crazy. And the whole time I was thinking like she's gonna cut me, and she didn't, and it was nice.
Do you know who you had?
One time it was like a Hispanic lady. I don't know who it was.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and then the next time I went, had this motorcycle lady who had like skulls and stuff, and she's great.
That's Amanda.
Really, that's Amanda?
I go to Amanda
yeah,
every time.
Amanda knows how to cut. And I actually said, I went in with like a huge just like mop of hair, because I'm like, just cut it to make me look cool. She's like, honey, I don't think I can do that. And I'm like, Amanda.
Oh, Amanda.
But she gave me a good cut, and she was talking about like going to like bike week and stuff like that in Daytona, and how it's terrible, just a tourist trap.
She told me in the middle, you know how she's got all the skulls in front of her? That's like her thing, I guess. They always decorate.
She's not like other girls.
Yeah, no, she's not like other girls. She's quirky.
She's a quirky one.
But I asked her about the skulls one time, and she said that skulls, she finds skulls beautiful because there's no skin. It just is what it is.
That's what a serial killer would say.
It's just like, whoa.
I think that was a direct quote from an interview with serial killer Ed Kemper.
Probably, honestly. I wouldn't put it past her. She's got all those straight razors, and she knows how to use them, let me tell you.
I want to, like, I've been using a double-edged safety razor to shave, like one where you just kind of have like that rectangle razor blade and just like do like a wet shave every time I shave. Just because it feels so much nicer than...
It really does.
Like, you can cut yourself, like, a lot easier than using, like, regular stuff. But, like, I just feel so fresh after I wet shave myself. And I use this... I got a new aftershave balm called Dapper Dragon Scale Polish.
Wow.
It has a lot of menthol in it, and so it makes your face all, like, cool right afterwards. Ride that dragon, baby.
Baby, come on.
Chasing it. The first time was great.
This podcast sponsored by Ride That Dragon.
This podcast is sponsored by Dragons. Speaking of dragons...
Okay.
How do you feel about the game Dungeons and Dragons? I already know the answer, but how do you feel about it?
You do already know the answer. I think it's incredible. I think we talked about creative outlets earlier. Man, you talk about a creative outlet.
Oh, yeah. We've been playing together now probably close to 5 years, coming up on it. 'Cause we started senior year of high school, I would say, right around there. And I've enjoyed every second of it.
Oh, man, me too.
We've gone through a lot of people in our sessions. I feel like me and you have kind of been a constant.
The backbone. Well, we've got great on-screen chemistry.
Oh, we do. And off-screen. I wish we would record our sessions. If I had like 6 more cameras, we could be the next Critical Role.
Absolutely. Oh, man.
Did you watch Critical Role sometimes? I don't watch it religiously, but like I'll watch episodes and stuff. There's like a huge fan base behind it too. Like people write fan fictions and shit about the Critical Role characters. Like that's just a whole nother level of role playing games.
Yeah, and their episodes are like 4 hours.
Oh yeah, they're hard. Like they're very good. Like whatever his name, Matt Mercer is just a phenomenal DM game master.
Yeah, McCree. But everyone he plays with
is he McCree's voice?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, because I saw he posted something on Instagram recently where he was just like in like the desert and said it's high noon, and that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. He is masterful though, like you said, and all the people he plays with too. It's he only plays with voice actors.
Yeah, so it's like they're voice actors, so they already have like that amount of depth to their character, but then they're also like. People don't realize how much like emotion and like acting actually goes into voice acting. A lot of people just think it's like oh, they're just kind of sitting around on couches like, oh, look, I'm Peter Griffin. That was my Peter Griffin impression.
Pretty good.
Yeah, but it's actually like really like they do tons of takes. Like they like stand up, like do like if you watch like like videos of voice actors, they're like really getting into it.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like ADR in the film world is something. It's basically when you were I cannot remember, that was on a test once, but like if I'm recording you like on a train from this far, from like half a mile away, I can't hear you, and so afterwards you'll come in to like a studio, we'll play the video up, and you just make the noises you were making during it and put that in post. And so like there's videos of Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, right?
That's right.
And he's like watching like the fight scene and stuff and just going like through all like the like doing like all the same stuff that he did during the fight, just so it's a more crisp sound and sounds much better. And it's just crazy because you wouldn't even, it all sounds, they're such good actors, it just sounds like that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's definitely some highbrow acting. Do you have any, going back to D&D, got off on a little tangent there, do you have any
favorite, what's your favorite part about Dungeons and Dragons, if you could, in short or in long? This is a long form talk show.
Absolutely. My favorite is probably my favorite moments are moments where it's seems meaningless and we're just like in a bar or a pub or bartering with a shopkeeper. I think that breeds the best like banter and stuff
role
of
play.
that nature. Yeah,
just
role
really
playing.
getting a feel for your character.
I'm really not good at combat banter. Like,
I can't think of like unless it's just like kind of, I don't even think we've ever done this like give me a heal or something like that. It's kind of it's almost just like every time we like, I don't know, I feel like we run combat wrong.
I think we do too.
Like, but because there's definitely a ton of metagaming in it. Like metagaming, for those who don't know, is kind of like a little bit cheating, where you know something that your character wouldn't necessarily know, and then you use that to your advantage. Like, let's say Joey gets hit by a poison arrow. He wouldn't know, your character might not know that it's poison, but if you have an anti-poison spell, if there is one, you could use that to heal them. And if you do that without knowing it's a poison arrow, then it's kind of metagaming.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the only, we don't even really talk to each other during combat at all.
No, we suck.
Yeah.
That's like immediately where I get lost. Like waiting on my turn during combat.
Yeah, it's kind of everyone's doing their own solo thing during combat instead of working as a team. Like we never use any like the help action or like, I don't even know, anything like that.
And God forbid if, like you said, you're a support character during combat, you have got a boring stint of time.
You just sit back and throw heals and whatnot.
Yeah. And like you said, I'm sure there's a more refined way to do it, and we have not discovered it.
Yeah, not yet. We will one day, hopefully. But I'm still waiting for this session to get started, the one that we've been planning for 4 weeks now. Like,
yes.
I have like a whole character made, backstory, like it's like I didn't want to flesh him out too much. I kind of wanted to flesh him out like during session 0, session 1, kind of work off of the other characters and stuff, because I feel like in the past I've created this like character who's very like complete, and then you throw him in with other very complete characters. It's like, oh, how are these guys a team and stuff? And so I kind of went like, here's basic outline, here's like basic everything, like kind of stuff how I would play him. But when I get to like hang out with you guys and actually play, then we can kind of figure out how he melds into the team, if that makes sense.
Right.
My friend Chris Voith, who I've brought up on this podcast before, he watches it on YouTube. And he sent me a picture or a video watching it and zoomed into my hands and said, if you watch the hands, it's the best part of the podcast. And now I'm really self-conscious on what I do with my hands.
Oh, boy. There's no telling what I've been doing this whole time before you said that.
I've been doing this a few times, this little cross-hatched finger.
I keep adjusting my watch, I'm sure our friend Chris will see that.
Our friend Chris. He's very friendly. He's a good salesman. You can never tell if he actually likes you because he's really good at selling himself.
Huh.
Yeah, Chris.
I don't trust that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't.
I keep that guy far away.
Every time I hang out with him, I feel like I joined a pyramid scheme. Like, yeah. Which I didn't. That wasn't supposed to be a segue, but it is a pretty good segue. I went to a pyramid scheme basically basically recently. It's like a weird kind of square pyramid because like what it was, I went in, like applied on LinkedIn, like applied to their website, immediately got a text back saying, "Oh, you've been like chosen to come for an interview," and so I went in for the interview, met with this dude named Austin, like big ass, like probably 6'8", like he was like an ex like college football player, and apparently he says that he played in the NFL, but upon research, he never did play in the NFL. He didn't get drafted or anything, but he like met with me, this big dude, really fast talker, really charismatic, and like was just like bam, 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 drawing pictures on my resume. Like, this is where you start. You gotta get from A to D. You'll get from there in 5 to 9 months. It used to take 3 years, all this stuff. And he's like, all right, I'll see you. You'll get a call back between 4 and 7 if you get a second interview, and just like shove me out the door. I didn't get to ask any questions. I'm like, wow, this is definitely a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
And then got the call back. He's like, Anthony, you've been selected. You're top 7 of the 1,100 applicants. And I was like, wow, I'm really talented.
What am I doing here then?
And what on my resume did you like? The fact that it said ice cream man at Cold Stone or kitchen worker at pizzeria? I'm ready for this high-level sales job. And so I went back for the second. Well, the second interview is you have to dress. He said, dress professionally, wear comfortable shoes. I'm not going to be wearing my high heel shoes. Haha. And then like hung up. And then so I wore like a suit and stuff. And he brought me in at like 12. I went, and he's like, it's going to be a day in the life. I went. He took me back. Me and this other girl were coming in for our second interviews. This girl was black. This is important later. And so we go back. If I forget to say it now, I'm just going to sound racist. But if we go back, this Austin guy's like, okay, I'm going to introduce you guys to the most important people you're going to meet today. I'm not going to be on this interview. It's going to be them. They're my like level. They're my number 2 guys. And he brings us back, one black guy, one white guy who's blonde. And he's like, hey, and he was like, stood the girl in front of the black guy, stood me in front of the blonde guy, and like we shook each other's hand and introduced ourselves. I went to shake the black guy's hand. He's like, oh, we'll have time for that later. And then immediately I went with the blonde guy and she went with the black guy, and I never saw them again. Like, I don't know that guy's name. I don't know her name. It was completely different. Like, this is definitely like a pandery thing, like to make us feel more comfortable, I guess, like matching you with someone who looks very similar to you.
They want you to see you.
Exactly.
In their
Yeah, for sure. And we got like this guy he was 22, or he was like 21, I think. And he was very like just very fast talker again, like pretty charismatic, but very salesman-y, where he's like, haha, like making jokes out of everything, making you feel like real comfortable and stuff. And then we got in.
How dare he?
Yeah, how dare he?
How dare he?
We got in his car, and he's like, all right, I'm going to take you to the event. And then it was just like explaining things. And there was this one guy who was sitting in the passenger seat of his car. And he's like, hey, bud, I need you to get in the back. And it was just this dude. And he's like, okay. And then got in the back. And then we drove over there. Dude in the back didn't say a single thing. And we drove over there. Like, he's like talking about like Steph Curry and shit. And like talking to, I don't know, just like sales stuff. And I guess he thought I was like a sports guy and was trying to relate to me with sports. We get to, and he's like, okay, the event's coming up. My friend Shane in the past told me he went to this pyramid scheme thing, and he like wore a suit, and everyone was wearing suits. And as soon as they got, like, he was like, and my friend Shane said, we went to this event, and it was just a Best Buy, and they all changed into Xfinity T-shirts. And then we went into a Best Buy, and that is exactly. I think I texted you, or I texted you during this.
I was so confused.
I was trying to remember who told me this, but this was the exact same thing. We got to a Best Buy, and they all changed into Xfinity gear, and then they were just like selling Xfinity at a Best Buy, and they made me do all this stupid shit, like, all right, go find a product that's worth under $20, make it so that it'll be worth 4 times the amount, and write me a marketing plan on how to make $1 million in 1 year doing this, like fill out all these different like boxes and stuff. And I did that for 2 hours, and he's like, oh, then I'll go with the debriefing, then we'll go to lunch and all this stuff. I do that, and the entire like 2 hour thing was just to distract me while he was selling Xfinity, and then to come over and like be like, so when you're paying your workers, it's much better to do commission, right? Like salary's dumb, like hourly's dumb, because commission's great. And I was like, okay. Like I was just kind of going along with him because I wanted to see where he was going. And so basically, like that's when I was like, okay, it's definitely a pyramid scheme because it's all commission based. And so we end up going to lunch, and he's like, all right, we're going to Zaxby's. And then we go to Zaxby's. He's like, make sure you get it to go. I got it to go. No one else got food. He just took me to Zaxby's and like told me to get Zaxby's, and then made me eat it at a Best Buy. And then he also drove me from the office to the Best Buy so that I couldn't leave, like so that I had to stay there. Like I was trapped. If I wanted to leave, I would have had to be like, hey, can we go home? And then he would have been like, well, all this other stuff. And then it was basically just him selling Xfinity and showing me how he sells Xfinity for the rest of the time. And we got back to the office at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And so it had already been like almost a 9-hour day of me just not doing anything. I went back in. Big tall guy's like, all right. They made me fill out this like 13-page questionnaire or 13-answer questionnaire to see if I was fit for the company. And I purposely answered 2 questions wrong just to see what they do. He took the sheet back, came back out. He's like, so you answered these 2 wrong. I'll let you change your answers. And then like he let me change my answers to the right answers. And then I went back. The big tall guy's like, well, I can't offer you the position because I didn't see you at all today, so I have to go talk to him and see. And they went and talked for like 5 minutes, and they both came back in, and he's like, how do you think you did? I'm like, I think I did amazing. And he's like, it's because you did. You're probably one of the top 5 best applicants we've ever had here. You got the job and stuff. And this whole time I was like he was wearing me down. He's like, you'll be making at level 1, it'll take up to 5 weeks. You'll be in level 1. You'll be making $800 a week. Level 2, you'll be there bulk of the time, 2 to 6 months. You'll be making $900 a week. Level 3, that's where I am. You'll be making $2,000 a week. You'll be there for about 2 months. And then when you get to the top level, you're a manager and you open your own branch. And so you like start your own pyramid basically. And then you'll be making about $48,000 to $8,000 a week. And I was like, wow, this sounds good. And I was just the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, well, if I do this, it's definitely a pyramid scheme. But if I'm making that much, it's like I'll probably be making minimum wage, and that's what I'm making at a restaurant right now. Might as well try it. And I'm like, wait, no, this is exactly what he wants. And I was like asking him all these questions, like, so who started this? He's like, well, not one person really started it, like all this stuff. I'm like, well, what was the first company? He's like, well, there's not a company name. We all have different companies. I'm like, what was the first branch of this thing? He's like, it's called Revolution America. It's made by this guy named Jared Cobb. And I was like, all right, I'll look up Jared Cobb later. And like I was like, so what does Jared Cobb do now? He's like, oh, well, he's a VP. And I was like, wait, what's a VP? He's like, oh, well, when you work here, we'll discuss that later. Because up till now, there was
a Greek organization.
Yeah, up till now, there was only 4 positions that you could feasibly get. There was A, B, C, and D up to manager, and that's where you make all the money. But now there's this VP that I'm not allowed to know about, which means there's other things I'm probably not allowed to know about.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he kept saying things like, he was like, when you sell an Xfinity thing, you get 60% of your sales at level. You get 60% of the sale at level 1. And I was like, what happens to the other 40%? He's like, oh, it goes back to the office. I'm like, what does that mean? Goes back to the office? He's
the
like,
office.
Yeah, and so that's basically where I was like, okay, this is definitely a pyramid scheme. It's going to the top guy because 40% of your sales are going to the office, which is just that one guy.
It's Jared Cook.
Jared Cobb.
Oh, my bad.
And
Jared Cobb.
there were 18 branches of this company in this same office park. So if you're ever in an office park that's around a lake, do not go in there. And they're all called like Do, Clash, Brash, like Radical and stuff, and like they all sell different things. This one sold Xfinity. Some sell like stuff for the American Humane Society and stuff. And it's just like if you ever go to Walmart or Best Buy and see guys with iPads trying to sell you shit, that's them. And like so, there's 18 branches of this weird company in like this one place, and you work 6 days a week for 10 hours a day, and it's just super pyramid schemey. Like I looked up into Jared Cobb. He has like a bunch of like lawsuits against him and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I found this article that was like verbatim the exact thing. Like the article was called Devil Corp Industry and stuff like that. And it's like they'll invite you for a first interview. They're not going to let you ask any questions. It'll last about 2 minutes. Second interview will be 8 to 9 hours. You'll have a day in the life, all this stuff. They'll make you do all this shit, try to convince you on commission sales. And then eventually you'll be like level 1, and you're going to be working 6 hours or 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, selling some stupid product in a store, working all on foot. And you'll be doing that essentially for 9 months. And then you might start making money, or they'll just fire you after you've done it for a long enough time because they can fire you for no reason. And like it was just verbatim exactly what this company was. And I was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to accept the position. Thank you anyways. And he's like, why not? And I was like, I found this article and I was doing research on Jared Cobb. And he was like, who's Jared Cobb? And I said, you told me he was the guy who started it. He's like, well, Jared Cobb didn't start it. He was one of a group of people who started it. It's like, so you know who he is. Why'd you just say, who is Jared Cobb? And like, it's all really shady. So if you ever, moral of the story, I've been rambling for a while. Moral of the story, if you ever get an interview where they do 2 parts, second part is like a 9-hour day in the life, just don't go to it. It's not worth it. If it seems too good to be true, it definitely is too good to be true. You're not going to make millions of dollars. Brad. Wow, 25 minutes already.
Bingo.
Bingo.
All right, well, I think it's lunchtime.
Lunchtime, we'll come back.
Take me to Zaxby's, leave me in the car.
We're going to Zaxby's. Just get it to go. And they all just watched me eat. It was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, another fun story from that. The guy who was like the level 1 guy who was in the car, who was selling stuff.
Your doppelganger.
Yeah. On lunch, not the doppelganger. The doppelganger was like, oh, I'll be right back. And so I was eating lunch, and this level 1 guy was with me, and he was talking about it. He's like, man, why we always got to go to Zaxby's? And he was like, I can't afford that. I haven't been paid yet because they don't pay you for the first 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, they don't? He's like, no. And you don't know how much you're making either because it's all based on effort. And like, it's not.
Oh my god.
And he was
so
like telling
illegal.
me he was like telling me all this stuff. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna stick with them. I'm like, oh yeah. And then other guy apparently was sitting within earshot, came in. He's like, hey, can I talk to you real quick? Took the other guy out. I didn't talk to him for the rest of the day until right at the end. I was like alone with him again. He's like, man, this company's great. There's so much room for stuff. Like, I love it here. It's like, Jesus. Like,
That's scary.
He just took you back, gave you 50 lashes,
so
and was like, and it was like a weird like dystopian company that I was like interviewing for. And like they all switched into like Xfinity t-shirts, and I was wearing like a big like 3-piece suit this entire time, walking around a Best Buy looking like a jackass. And like all the Best Buy employees were looking at me like, yeah, you're gonna get roped into a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean they go there every single day.
Right. I don't know why does Best Buy let those freaking parasites go in there?
I don't know, because it's like with Xfinity, so like Xfinity probably like gives them some kind of money or something, like, oh, here, we'll give you $1,000 a month if you let us come sell Xfinity. And like their whole play is they walk up to you like, hey, can I help you find anything? And they're like, oh yeah, all this stuff. And so he kind of dicks around and tries to find like what you're looking for. It's like, oh yeah, here's a charging cable. By the way, real quick, Best Buy brought me out, and then they do a point. They point somewhere in the store, just like up, and everyone always looks away. They're not pointing to anything in particular. It's just to distract you. They go, Best Buy brought me out for a promotion that's today, and they like make it, I don't know, it's so much misdirection to try to, and this guy got like 6 sales in one day. Like the good guy. The other guy had no idea what he was doing and got like 1.
Right.
But like the first people that were there, I swore were actors because it went perfectly. Like he was like just like having a good time and like sold like a 3-piece package and like the best sale he could have done. Like I'm almost certain that there was like actors that were planted there to buy the Xfinity. I don't know. So, but that was a 12-hour day of mine because I had to drive all the way to Dunwoody, which was like an hour and a half away, and then drive back an hour and a half. And it was like my day off, and so I had to go back to working a 12-hour restaurant shift the next day.
Boy, I'm sorry you had to do that.
It was rough, but I knew it was a pyramid scheme going into it. I'm like, but there's like a 1% chance that it's not, and this could actually be like a real job, but it wasn't.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn.
That's my life.
Yeah, I know someone. Wait, I don't know if I should.
You should say it.
Yeah, probably. No, there's this person that went to school with who's definitely involved in a pyramid scheme right now. It's just
my sister was involved in a pyramid scheme for a while, Roden and Fields, and like she thought it wasn't and stuff. I wonder if she still thinks it wasn't. I don't think she watches this, so she'll.
They get brainwashed, dude.
Oh yeah, like
they get 100% brainwashed.
Like I want to join I don't want to join this ship pyramid scheme because this one is like the one that I was in. Excuse me, was like a ton of walking and was like a different kind of pyramid scheme. I want to join a traditional one, but not go into it thinking I'm selling a product and helping people. I want to go into it knowing I'm screwing people over. Because I feel like that's how you become successful in pyramid schemes. Because I know every single marketing major in my college freshman year joined a pyramid scheme because this guy with a suit came in and was like, we're going to have a marketing meeting today. So all of them came in. It was like, future salesmen come to this meeting, and they were like, oh, okay, maybe I'll go to this. It's college. And then he was like, do you guys want to make $300 million an hour? And they're like,
Yes.
yeah, we do. And he's like, just sign up under me. And then you just sell this stuff. It's so easy. And then they all signed up, and this guy's probably on a boat right now. A nice boat, not just a canoe. But unless he likes canoes. He might. I don't know. I didn't go to it. But I just want to do that. I have one suit, just drive around to colleges and just get people to join whatever my pyramid scheme is. You can make so much money doing that.
You really can, man.
Let's start one. Let's be the tip of a pyramid scheme.
And we're going to call ourselves Vortex.
Vortex. That's a great one.
Welcome to Vortex.
Welcome to Vortex.
You're
Here's
the
our
best
magazine.
Fucking candidate I've ever seen in my life.
We've never seen a salesman this good. We need you on Vortex. We wanted to extend you this offer before other candidates because we know you'll get picked up by somewhere else. What are we gonna sell? Or let's say that we're selling a pyramid scheme, but
We'll sell
keychains,
bingo.
keychains, and glacier melted water in a square bottle like Fiji.
We'll say their key change, and they boost your 4G reception on your phone.
That's good. And then we just teach them how to sell it. We teach them how to sell the keychains, and then just get a bunch of lackeys to think they're selling keychains. Vortex.
But really, it just steals your information. It's like a little USB drive that has the unique ability to copy every email that you ever send.
It's like one of those, like, it just steals your NFC information from your phone. It just like steals all your like credit cards.
Oh my god.
It's perfect. It's like bumping people where you just put your phone against like their wallet and steal their information. That happened to my girlfriend recently. She got like her bank account drained at an Auburn football game. But the Bank of America or whatever is being cool about it. Yeah, War Damn Eagle. There's a ton of Auburn people in Georgia. I think it's just because it's closer than Georgia Southern is. Like, but I see way more Auburn flags than Georgia Southern flags. But I see probably equal amounts Auburn stuff to Georgia Tech. There's probably more UGA, but
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, there's a lot of War Damn people around here.
Oh, absolutely. And then Alabama Crimson Tide fans have infested the entire Southeast.
Yeah. I think Alabama is so big into the Crimson Tide because they don't have an NFL team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I guess, yeah, I don't know who they would root for in the NFL, like the Falcons maybe.
Mm-hmm. Falcons and Saints.
Yeah, I guess Mississippi, do they have any?
Saints.
Yeah.
Saints all the way.
Is that who Mississippi goes for usually, the Saints?
Yeah, and it's kind of like the same is true with like baseball.
Really?
You know, they don't really have anyone, so the Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves kind of split the South.
Really? There's only Atlanta Braves and Houston Astros are the only two baseball teams in the South?
Yeah.
Really?
When you look, that strip, that's Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. Houston being the farthest east of all the Texas teams.
That's crazy. I didn't know there were no teams. I wonder why.
It's crazy, right?
Because, Florida has like the Devil Rays or the Rays, whatever they're called now.
They've got the Rays and the Marlins.
Yeah, but that's not really the South. That's kind of like Florida.
It's Florida. Whatever that thing is.
And so I recently discovered, like, this past year, like, within the past 6 months probably, that the Falcons and the Saints are, like, a huge rival.
Yeah.
And I never knew that or realized why. Is it just because they're playing for the same playoff position, or is it like?
It's because they're both in the NFC South, along with Tampa Bay and Carolina.
Okay.
And I don't know how it developed into a rivalry, but it's all fandom. Like, the players don't care about the rivalry.
Oh, yeah. The players probably, like, even when they lose, they're probably a little upset, but like they're going home to mansions and shit.
I don't even know, man. Watching the NFL, I wonder if they even get upset when they lose.
The Super Bowl or the game right before the playoffs. I bet they would get upset there. But regular games, like especially if you're on like the Cleveland Browns, just like I ain't fucking.
Yeah, we're gonna do what we can.
So
Miami Dolphins.
being a Cajun boy, do you like the Falcons or the Saints more?
I prefer the Saints,
really?
But I was raised in Georgia, and I'm not proud enough to discredit the Falcons or anything like
Yeah.
that. I like the Falcons.
It's interesting that they're both Mercedes-Benz stadiums now too.
I know. It
So-
only helps me be fans of both.
Yeah, you can just wear a Mercedes hat.
Bingo. That is what all of us do.
I'm just a fan of cars. I don't care about the team that plays here. Dude, the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium is super nice.
I haven't been.
It's like I didn't like the Georgia Dome. I went to one Falcons game and it just felt like you were in a stadium. It was like, ugh.
Mhm.
And then like I went to Mercedes-Benz for 2 Atlanta United games. One of them I was in the Delta Club, which was like field level, and I got to stand on the field and shit, which was a whole different experience, which was
I bet.
amazing. Which I never really liked soccer until then. I'm like, all right, soccer's cool. But then I went and got the cheapest seats for a friend's birthday, and it was like $20 seats, like the highest row you could be. But it was just like it's so open air and just feels like you're in like a mall that also just has a professional sporting event going on at the same time. It was just like, I don't know, it felt clean, like a lot of natural light and shit in there, and a lot of windows to let light in.
I like that.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird beer joke I was trying to do. A lot of natural light.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I was like, man, a lot of light.
A lot of light,
This
but
guy likes his light.
yeah, it was super nice. I
Yeah.
would recommend going. I don't know if I go to a Falcons game there. I don't really give a shit about football, but
I love football. I'd love to. I think I will go to a Falcons game this year. I'm fired up on it right now.
yeah. They got a new black spokesperson. It used to be Samuel L. Jackson, but then was it? Yeah, it was Samuel L. Jackson, wasn't it?
I don't know.
No, was it? I don't know. But we didn't win, and now they have. Fuck, I can't even remember who it was. It's a rapper now, I think. I don't know. It's just the new hype commercial. For a second, I was gonna say Al Roker. I know it's not Al Roker. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods, Falcon. I feel like that's just kind of their thing. It's very pandery. It's like, all right, Atlanta, we gotta get real Atlanta people. I don't know. That's just speculation. Rappers, yeah. It definitely was Samuel L. Jackson, and it was like Falcons Rise Up, and he had like a chorus behind him.
Oh yeah.
And now
I remember that.
Is it 50 Cent? I don't know. But it's someone I didn't recognize them, and someone's like, "Oh, did you see it was this?" I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense." And so I think they're just kind of going with black celebrities. Is kind of like,
well,
the
Atlanta
Falcon-
based probably. There's no shortage of rappers from Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
It'd be really cool if they got Donald Glover or something.
yeah. Is he from Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he has a show called Atlanta too.
Yeah, Candler Road, baby.
I went to a film festival once, and it was like kind of a student film festival, and I can't remember who was supposed to be there. It was the guy. He was in The Godfather and shit. He was in Meet the Fockers. He's a dad in those movies.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of his name right now, but he was supposed to be there and he just didn't show up, which is kind of shitty. But
That's
then,
really shitty.
and like the opening ceremony, they're like, "Do you guys like Donald Glover?" And we're like, "Yes." And they're like, "Do you like Childish Gambino?" We're like, "Yeah, we like
Same
him."
person!
And they're like, "Well, he uses this website too," and stuff like that. And I was
Oh
like,
man.
yeah, like we all thought he was about to come out and do 3005, and we were it's like,
Yeah, freaking
I would've
sweatpants, baby.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be awesome. I've always wanted to be. You like see YouTube videos of concerts that there's like a surprise visit from someone huge, like
Yeah.
freaking Kanye or something.
My girlfriend's brother and sister went to you know who Lizzo is?
Yeah,
They went to a Lizzo concert in USF. It was like their student concert, and Beyonce was the surprise opener. Like
what?
that, like didn't
That doesn't happen.
No one knew she was coming. It was just Beyonce opened up for Lizzo. It's like
That's
that's like
awesome.
one of the biggest musicians of all time. It's just like, hey, I'm here, and everyone's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I remember I went and saw Big Sean at Music Midtown a few years ago, and he started doing Mercy. You know that song?
I recognize the title, but I don't recognize.
It's got all that like.
Oh yeah.
It's supposedly if you play it backwards, it's like a satanic prayer or something.
No.
I'm sure there's videos of it.
Mm.
But yeah, they started doing that, and like everyone around me was like, "Holy shit, is Kanye about to come out?"
Oh
Like,
yeah. Did he?
No,
Uh-oh.
no.
Fuck yeah, Con. I went to. I can never remember this guy's name. He's like a white rapper. Name the white rappers. Go. Not Eminem.
Mac Miller.
No.
G-Eazy.
G-Eazy. That's who it was.
Man.
And he was at Music Midtown, and he was just trash the entire time.
Really?
Like he spent.
Wait, he was trashed or he was
he
trashed?
was trash. Like it was just terrible. And like he spent half his set going, "Fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump. And it was like, all right, we get it. Just play some music.
Yeah.
I came here to not listen to politics.
Yeah, I did not come here for politics.
And I saw Logic, and it was, I guess, when Logic was smaller, because he was like on not a main stage at like 2:00 at Music Midtown.
Oh.
And it was by far the worst live performance I've ever seen anyone do in my life. It was just this white dude who kept going, I'm a black man trapped in a white man's body.
Whoa.
I didn't have that strong African-American figure in my life. It's like, yeah, because you're a white guy.
Yeah, because your parents were white.
I think he's technically mixed, but I don't know. I don't think he is.
Oh, is it? I don't
But
know.
he was like, are there any birthdays in the crowd? And like everyone raised their hand. He's like, what's your name, sweetie? What's your name? And he's like, happy birthday, Carolyn. Any other birthdays? And any birthday? And he went from being like, yeah, I'm so hot. What's your name, sweetie? And then he started checking people's IDs to make sure that it was actually their birthday. And it went on for like 20 minutes. It was like way too long, and it was just trash. And I've never liked Logic since. I just like that one line, I don't want to be alive.
One of the worst experiences was also at Music Midtown.
It's just not a good festival.
No, honestly. Well, some of my best experiences with music were also there, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
But, we went and saw this weird Canadian indie band called the Strumbellas.
Sounds like an Italian restaurant.
Their music is not horrible. I should say that, but they were so awkward on the stage. The lead singer at one point was like, there was like some, I don't remember all their names, but there was some guitarist named like Ronnie, and they were like, all right, everybody, Ronnie thinks that the boys are a lot louder than the girls in this crowd. And then he was like, but I disagree. I think the ladies are a lot louder.
And everyone's just silent.
And everyone's just like, what are you doing? And then he says, he's like, all right, when I raise my hand, I want all the guys to yell as loud as you can. And these are like in between sets. And he'd like raise his hand if he would be like, ah.
I feel like he was just kind of copying what 21 Pilots did to get big, because I hate 21 Pilots, but like
on the record, I hate 21 Pilots.
But I've seen a lot of like their like old stuff, like their old like live shows, and they're very good at crowd participation.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like they get people going, and that's definitely how they got so big so fast, because their music's terrible.
I thought their early music was okay, but definitely this recent album is some of the most angsty, cringy things I've ever heard.
Speaking of Music Midtown and 21 Pilots, I would say the worst performance I saw was Logic. The worst experience I've ever had at a live show was 21 Pilots. They were like main stage, like headlining that day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I had like the worst migraine I've ever had in my life, because like it was like my first music festival. Or no, it wasn't my first one, but like I just
didn't have that stamina built up.
No, because I went to like Warped Tour and Rockstar Energy Mayhem Fest, but that was terrible. But I didn't like eat until it was like, oh shit, I haven't eaten in 12 hours. And so like my body was already starting to shut down. And like I had like the worst migraine. I was just laying in the grass, like covering my eyes. I'm like, fuck, 21 Pilots. And it was just like my least favorite music playing. I'm like, Maggie, we need to go now. And we did go, and it was nice after we left.
Yeah, you went to like McDonald's or something?
No, we just went home and went to sleep.
That's probably better for you.
Yeah, I think it was... Oh, it was also because that was the first time I ever did dabs, was at that Music Midtown. And so like I was just like super high, like way higher than I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And like wasn't eating, probably didn't drink nearly enough water, and I was just like, 21 Pilots.
Well, that's the worst part. There's like one water fountain in that entire damn park with a line that's going out the gate on the other side of the park, and then you can go get a water bottle from the bar, but it's $6.
The next day, I was like a dad on vacation. Like, everyone got water. You drinking water? All right. We got sunscreen on. All right, okay, we're gonna eat at 3:00. Everyone synchronize your watches
on military time.
Yeah, mine is on military time. You can't tell now because it's 11:16.
Mine's analog. So.
Ooh. Wow. I had an analog watch for a while, and it was like right after I switched from digital, and people would ask me the time. I'd be like, 4:00. It took me a second.
Oh man, I saw 21 Pilots live in the Infinite Energy Arena.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a great performance. It was very fun.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
did a lot
they
of
probably
covers.
did a good live show, but that was just I was in a terrible space.
Oh yeah, I went. My Music Midtown experience.
What year did you go? I went in 2016.
2017.
Okay, you went the year after.
Yeah. So headliners were the first day Bruno Mars and Weezer. So I went and saw Bruno Mars.
You didn't want to see a 40-year-old guy still trying to be relevant.
What's with these? Yeah, no. I went and saw Bruno Mars, which was a really cool show at the beginning and at the end. In the middle, it was like all of his love songs.
Oh yeah.
And he was like very
Lucky for you, that's what I like.
exactly, and he was like really pandering to like the ladies in the
He's
crowd.
like 3'5". He's like super
yeah.
short. Like in all of his music videos, if he's with another person, one of them is leaning up against the car if they're on the same shot together, or leaning up against something.
Oh yeah,
Like because he doesn't want to look short.
no,
I actually really like Bruno Mars. I don't really, yeah,
he was very entertaining.
and like especially when he got more Motowny, like did that whole like treasure, like kind of like it sounded like you were listening to like a Michael Jackson like deep cut. And it was it was good.
Let me tell you, Uptown Funk
was
fun.
Uptown Funk.
Oh yeah,
Pop, it's showtime.
yeah, but he had like a bunch of
That's
dancers
24
up there.
Karat Magic.
Oh, that one was fun too. But he had a bunch of dancers up there that were really fun. He had like a name for them. They were like his crew.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
The Bruno Mars 24 Karat Girls or something like that.
they were a bunch of dudes. They were like all
The
these
24 Karat
jacked, like-
boys.
yeah, the 24 Karat boys. They were all these like jack dudes that could do sweet flips and stuff.
Damn.
But yeah, there was one sequence where he was like pretending like he was on a phone call getting broken up with,
Mm-hmm.
like into the mic, and he's like, like, baby, do you want me to sing to you? And all the girls in the crowd are just like, oh my God, sing to us.
And like they're all just broke up with their boyfriends to
Yeah.
get sung to.
Literally breaking up with their boyfriends in that moment.
In this moment, we're not together. Mama's gonna lose herself. If he takes me up on stage, I'll do whatever he says.
Oh. Man, Grenade was cool too.
Yeah, that's a good track.
Yeah, but then the next day the headliners were Mumford & Sons, and I think it was Blink 182 maybe?
I guarantee everyone at Blink 182 were wearing Converse, and everyone at Mumford & Sons were wearing Chacos.
I was up there in my Chacos.
Yep, I didn't see.
Yeah, we went to that stage though. They were playing at 8 and they were going 8 to 10. So it was
Really?
it
That's a
was
long set.
Nice set.
Did you get there like super early, like sit through the show before to get
yeah,
at the
we
front?
got there at 1:00 in the afternoon
For Mumford & Sons?
for Mumford & Sons.
Wow.
And so we just pushed our way up all day until we were at the fence.
Mhm.
Which,
Yeah, I didn't care about any of the bands there enough to do that.
oh yeah, I was there for Mumford & Sons, and
Okay.
that was my best concert experience
Really?
ever. Oh my God.
I really like going to Fish concerts, but that's like a whole different thing.
All right.
Yeah. I really like live show, like just like live shows at bars too, like bands that
Oh,
aren't like
yeah.
huge. Like I don't know, it's just so cool, like having like not a huge packed arena, just like maybe 100 people
Mhm.
there, like just vibing to this like small
Oh,
group.
yeah.
Like
Judah and the Lion. I saw them in a setting like that, and they were
Really?
really fun.
my mom, going back to Bruno Mars, she called his success like right when Billionaire. Like it was before Billionaire came out. She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this guy Bruno Mars, he's gonna be the next big one." And we were like, "Okay."
What did he have before Billionaire?
It was like it was just like some deep cut or something like that. I don't even know, but she like heard it on like
95.5 The Beat or something.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like Pharrell, who started out as a rapper and now sings "Happy." But
Clap along.
it's such a good song. I really hated it for a while when everyone was doing those like happy, like just running through the halls and
Oh.
stuff like that. They did one at North Forsyth did one.
I remember
And
that.
I think I refused to be in it. Or no, I think I probably was in it. I don't know, because it was in the broadcasting class, and that's who made it.
It's always, you can get out of stupid projects like that by being still in it, but acting like you don't want to be in it.
Yeah,
so
be the
you
guy
can
who's
be the
like-
person that's like,
Yeah. It's always a good time.
oh yeah,
All right, well, we've been talking for damn near 50 minutes now, so I think it's a good time to wrap up.
hot dog.
Thanks for being on, Joey.
You know, I had a great time.
You know, Thank you, listeners, for listening. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, most podcast websites. I don't know if we're on Apple Play anymore because I recently switched syndication companies, so we're still trying to figure that out. You
It's all a pyramid scheme.
You can follow the podcast page
Apple.
at Zesty_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow Joey at whatever your ad is.
It's all right.
At Joey
At
Becknell.
Joey Becknell.
Spelled JoeyBecknell.
EL.
Don't follow the other one. That guy's a fuck.
Yeah, dude's a loser.
And you can follow me at Tony_of the Shire on Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening. Make sure to smash that MF like button and throw a subscribe if you enjoyed the show. And we will see you on the next one.